The vast emptiness of space stretched endlessly before the scout ship horizon. Behind its controls, Jack Miller fought to stay awake during his 18th hour of solo patrol duty. The small vessel's sensors beeped steadily, monitoring the unexplored sector of space that Earth Command had assigned him to map. "Another boring day in the life of a space scout," Jack muttered, taking a sip from his coffee pouch. The bitter liquid had long since gone cold, but he needed something to keep his eyes open. The monotony shattered when the ship's proximity alarm blared to life. Jack nearly spilled his drink as he straightened in his chair, his fingers flying across the control panel. A massive object had appeared on his scanners, too large to be a standard vessel, but too small for an asteroid. "Computer analysis," Jack commanded, his heart racing with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. This was his first unusual encounter in 6 months of scouting. Unknown vessel detected. Design matches no known species in database. Power signatures minimal. Life support systems failing. The computer responded in its emotionless voice. Jack guided the horizon closer to the mysterious craft. As he approached, his ship's external lights illuminated a sight that made his jaw drop. The vessel appeared organic, almost like a massive egg made of dark, metallic scales. Damage marked its surface, deep gashes and burns that suggested a fierce battle. Protocol dictated that he should maintain distance and call for backup. But something about the failing life support systems tugged at Jack's conscience. Someone, or something, could be dying in there. "Computer, scan for compatible docking points," he ordered, already knowing he might regret this decision. After several tense minutes of maneuvering, Jack successfully connected his ship to the alien vessel. He donned his environment suit, checked his oxygen levels, and grabbed a standard-issue plasma pistol. Better safe than sorry, he thought. The airlock cycled, and Jack entered the alien ship. His helmet lights cut through the darkness, revealing corridors that seemed to pulse with faint bioluminescence. The architecture was unlike anything humans had encountered before. No sharp angles or mechanical components, just smooth organic curves that reminded him of being inside a living thing. His suit's sensors guided him toward the ship's central chamber, where the last traces of life support remained active. As he approached, the temperature readings climbed dramatically. The chamber doors parted with a sound like breathing, and Jack's lights fell upon something that stopped him dead in his tracks. In the center of the room lay a creature that defied belief. It was massive, easily the size of a small shuttle. Its body was covered in iridescent scales that shifted colors in his light beam. Multiple limbs ended in what appeared to be both claws and manipulator appendages. But it was the creature's head that truly caught his attention. A magnificent crown of horns surrounded a face that housed multiple eyes, each the size of his fist. The creature was injured. Dark fluid leaked from several wounds, and its breathing came in labored gasps that shook the entire chamber. All his training screamed at him to retreat. This was clearly an apex predator, something that could tear him apart in seconds. The computer's warning only confirmed his fears. Warning: biological scan indicates extreme threat level. Creature matches characteristics of Class A predatory species. Immediate retreat recommended. But as Jack raised his pistol, one of those massive eyes fixed upon him. In that moment, he saw something that changed everything. Intelligence, pain, and a deep weariness that spoke of a lifetime of being hunted. Against every regulation and survival instinct, Jack lowered his weapon. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said, knowing the creature probably couldn't understand him. "I want to help." The creature's response shocked him to his core. A series of complex patterns appeared in the air between them, created by some form of energy manipulation. As Jack watched, the patterns resolved into English text. "Why would you help what your kind fears?" Jack's mouth went dry. Not only was this creature intelligent, but it could somehow communicate through technology he couldn't even begin to understand. His response came from the heart, without hesitation. Because fear shouldn't decide who deserves to live. The chamber fell silent except for the creature's labored breathing. Then, slowly, more text appeared. You are either very brave or very foolish. Small one. Perhaps both. Jack couldn't help but smile inside his helmet. Yeah, I get that a lot. Now, let's see about patching you up. Little did Jack know, but that moment would change not just his life, but the fate of the entire galaxy. The emergency transmission from Earth Command flashed across the Horizon's main screen with angry red letters. Terminate hostile NTITY UNMEDIAER. This is a de receipt order. Jack stared at the message, his hands clenched into fists. Behind him, in the makeshift medical bay he'd created in the ship's cargo hold, the massive creature he'd named Rex lay recovering. Over the past 12 hours, he'd used every medical supply on board to treat the worst of Rex's wounds. They don't understand, Jack muttered, deleting the message. It was the 5th such order he'd received since reporting his discovery. The creature had shown no signs of hostility. Quite the opposite. Rex had been helping Jack understand the advanced technology of his ship through the remarkable energy-based communication system. As if sensing his thoughts, the air beside Jack shimmered with Rex's text. Your superiors have ordered my death, haven't they? Jack turned to face his new ally. Even lying down, Rex's massive form dominated the cargo bay. The iridescent scales seemed healthier now, shifting from deep blues to purples in the ship's lighting. They have, Jack admitted, but I'm not going to do it. Your species fears what it does not understand. This is familiar to me. Rex's communication carried a hint of sadness. Suddenly, every screen in the ship lit up with streams of data. Perhaps this will help them understand. These are my ship's records. Jack's eyes widened as he watched the information unfold. Star charts, scientific data, and historical records filled his screens. It was a treasure trove of knowledge that would advance human understanding of the galaxy by decades. This is incredible, Jack breathed. But why show me this? Because trust must begin somewhere, Rex responded. Your kind sees me as a monster. Let them see what we truly are. Guardians, scholars, explorers. Before Jack could respond, the ship's proximity alarm blared. 3 Earth Command vessels had dropped out of faster-than-light travel nearby. Their weapons were powered up. Scout Ship Horizon, this is Captain Wells of the ECS Defender. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. The hostile entity will be contained and eliminated. Jack's mind raced. He knew Captain Wells, a by-the-book officer who would follow orders without question. There would be no reasoning with him. Rex, Jack said quickly, can your ship still move? The repairs you helped me make have restored basic functions, but escape will be difficult. Difficult is better than impossible. Jack rushed to the control panel. I'm transferring all our power to your ship's systems. We need to go. Now. The Earth Command ships were closing in. Jack's fingers flew across the controls, initiating an emergency undocking sequence. Warning lights flashed throughout the horizon as he pushed the systems beyond safety limits. Horizon, this is your final warning. Stand down, or we will open fire. Rex's voice appeared on screen. You will be labeled a traitor to your species. Maybe, Jack agreed, completing the undocking sequence. But I'd rather be a traitor than someone who murders an innocent being out of fear. The moment the ships separated, Rex's vessel surged to life. The organic-looking hull pulsed with energy, and before the Earth Command ships could react, both the Horizon and Rex's ship vanished into faster-than-light travel through a method Jack had never seen before. When they emerged, they were in an uncharted sector of space. Jack let out a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. That was unexpected. Rex's text appeared. Your ship's systems are now integrated with mine. We can travel together safely. Jack smiled despite the gravity of his situation. Well, I just threw away my career and probably committed about 15 different violations of space law. Got any suggestions for what we do next? We find others who will listen to the truth, Rex responded. There are more like me out there. hidden from those who would destroy us. And there are those who know the Coalition's lies for what they are. The Coalition? Jack asked. The true enemy. Rex's text seemed to darken. Those who turned the galaxy against my kind. The ones who hunt us even now. A distant sensor ping caught their attention. More ships were coming. Ready for another adventure? Jack asked, already plotting evasive maneuvers. Rex's response was simple. With an ally like you. Always. Deep in an abandoned mining asteroid, Jack sat cross-legged on the floor of Rex's ship, watching in amazement as three-dimensional images floated in the air between them. The massive creature was sharing memories, projecting them through the same energy field he used for communication. Your species, Jack said, watching scenes of massive beings like Rex tending to younger civilizations. You weren't predators at all, were you? You were protectors. We were guardians. Rex's text appeared, tinged with a blue glow that Jack had learned indicated sadness. For millions of years, we watched over developing species, guided them, protected them from cosmic threats. The images shifted, showing Rex's kind helping primitive civilizations survive natural disasters, defending them from aggressive species, and teaching them about the stars. Jack noticed something interesting about the memories. Your people never interfered directly, he observed. You always guided from the shadows. Correct. Direct intervention often leads to dependency. We believed in letting species grow on their own terms, stepping in only when extinction threatened. New images appeared, darker ones. Jack watched as ships he didn't recognize began hunting Rex's people. The scenes showed peaceful guardian vessels being ambushed, destroyed, their inhabitants captured or killed. The Coalition, Rex explained, rose from species we had once protected. They had grown powerful, but also fearful. They saw our potential for destruction rather than our history of protection. They turned others against you, Jack realized, watching propaganda-like images that portrayed Rex's kind as monsters, made everyone believe you were threats. Fear is a powerful weapon. Soon, the galaxy that we had watched over for eons turned against us. We were hunted, trapped, killed. Some fled to the spaces between galaxies. Others went into deep hibernation. I chose to keep flying, to find someone who would listen to the truth. The images faded, leaving them in the dim light of the ship's interior. Jack stood up, placing a hand on one of Rex's massive forearms. The scales were warm to the touch, humming with the same energy that powered their communication. I'm listening, Jack said quietly. And I'm not the only one who would. Humans, we're curious by nature. Sometimes too curious for our own good, according to Earth Command. Your defiance of authority to save me proves this. Rex's text appeared with a golden tinge that Jack associated with amusement. You risk everything for truth. Speaking of risk, Jack moved to check their sensor readings. We should probably. The ship's alert system interrupted him. A message was being broadcast on all frequencies, powerful enough to reach even their hidden location. The voice spoke in multiple languages, but the meaning was clear. Attention all species. The Earth human designated Jack Miller has aided in the escape of a Class A hostile entity. Any information leading to their capture will be rewarded. They are to be considered extremely dangerous. Jack laughed, though there wasn't much humor in it. Dangerous. A scout with a broken ship, and someone who spent their existence helping others. They fear what we might tell others. Rex communicated. Truth is the greatest threat to those who rule through lies. A new alert appeared on their sensors. Ships were entering the system, beginning search patterns. We need to move, Jack said, already preparing for departure. But Rex, I need to know something first. Why trust me? After everything your people suffered, why take a chance on a random human? The answer appeared slowly, thoughtfully. Because in that first moment, when you found me injured and helpless, you chose compassion over fear. In all my years watching over younger species, I learned that such choices define who they truly are. Jack nodded, understanding flowing between them. They were both outcasts now, both hunted, but they were also both guardians in their own way. Rex through eons of watching over others, Jack through his simple choice to help rather than harm. "So," Jack said, powering up their systems, ready to show the galaxy what real monsters look like. "And by that, I mean the ones hunting us, not us." Rex's text appeared with a bright, determined glow. "Together, small guardian, we will remind them of who we really are." The ships pursuing them would find only empty space. The hunter and the human were already gone, carrying with them a truth that would shake the foundations of the galaxy. The marketplace on Outpost 7 buzzed with activity, aliens of all shapes and sizes going about their business. In a shadowy corner, Jack pulled his hood lower over his face, watching the crowds through the reflection in a merchant's metalwares. "They're here," he subvocalized into the tiny communicator hidden in his collar. Rex's ship, cloaked and hovering in the asteroid field above, received his warning. "Coalition hunters. 3 of them." Rex's text appeared in Jack's augmented reality contact lens. "Their energy signatures are distinctive." Through the crowd, Jack spotted them. Tall figures in sleek armor, moving with predatory grace. Their helmets turned slowly, scanning faces in the crowd. The latest bounty posting for Jack and Rex had tripled in value, drawing the Coalition's elite hunters out of hiding. "Time for a little chaos," Jack murmured, pressing a button on his wrist device. Across the marketplace, several merchants' power units suddenly overloaded, sending sparks and smoke into the air. The crowd panicked, exactly as planned. In the confusion, Jack slipped through a maintenance door that Rex had hacked earlier. "They're following," Rex warned, "but they don't know about the surprise we left them." Jack grinned as he ran through the maintenance tunnels. Behind him, he heard the hunters' heavy footsteps. Then came the satisfying sound of cursing as they triggered the gravity trap he and Rex had prepared. A modified gravity plating that now had 3 very angry hunters stuck to the ceiling. "That should buy us some time," Jack said, reaching the hidden airlock where a small pod waited. "Though I have to admit, they're getting better at tracking us." "They should be," Rex's text showed. "They had centuries of practice hunting my kind." Jack launched the pod, which quickly docked with Rex's cloaked ship. As he entered the main chamber, the massive creature's scales shifted in patterns that Jack had learned to recognize as concern. "You're worried," Jack said, removing his disguise. "This is the 3rd time they've found us in 2 weeks. They are using technology they stole from my people," Rex explained. "Each encounter teaches them more about tracking our energy signatures." Before Jack could respond, the ship's sensors blared a warning. A massive vessel had just dropped out of faster-than-light travel directly above the outpost. Its design was unlike anything Jack had seen before, ancient and powerful. "A harvester," Rex's text appeared in alarming red. "They've called in the old hunters." The massive ship began deploying smaller vessels, dozens of them, creating a net pattern around the outpost. Jack watched in growing concern as their escape routes disappeared one by one. "What exactly is a harvester?" he asked, though he had a feeling he wouldn't like the answer. "They were built to capture my kind alive," Rex explained. "To study us, learn our weaknesses. Most of my people who didn't die in battle ended in their holds." Jack's mind raced. They couldn't fight their way out. The harvester was too powerful. They couldn't run. The net was too tight. Then he noticed something about the smaller ship's pattern. "Rex," he said slowly, "your people built this outpost, didn't they? Before the Coalition took over?" "Yes." "How did you know?" "Because those ships are arranged in a capture pattern designed for something your size. They're not expecting you to have a human-sized partner." Understanding flowed between them. Jack quickly donned his spacesuit while Rex interfaced with the outpost's ancient systems. They had done the impossible before. Time to do it again. "Ready?" Jack asked, standing by the airlock with a stolen Coalition plasma rifle. "The old systems still recognize me," Rex confirmed. "On my signal, Every power core in the outpost will overload. The electromagnetic pulse will disrupt their net for approximately 3 seconds. Jack grinned inside his helmet. 3 seconds is all we need. What followed was perhaps the craziest space maneuver in human history. As the outpost's systems overloaded, Jack launched himself into space in a powered suit, while Rex's ship split into 2 apparent targets. The hunters, their systems scrambled, couldn't track the small human figure shooting between their vessels. By the time the Harvester's crew realized what had happened, Rex's ship had reformed around Jack, and they were already jumping to safety through one of the hidden spatial corridors that only Rex's people knew about. In the safety of faster-than-light travel, Jack allowed himself to breathe. Think they'll be mad. Furious, Rex's text appeared with a golden glow of amusement, but they still don't understand what they're really hunting. Oh, and what's that? Hope, Rex answered simply. And hope always finds a way. The hidden space station floated in the shadow of a gas giant, its existence known only to those who had reason to hide from the Coalition. Inside, Jack stood before a diverse group of beings, each representing species that had grown tired of living under the Coalition's rule. So you see, Jack concluded, showing them the evidence Rex had provided. Everything you've been told about the Guardians was a lie. The assembled aliens murmured among themselves. A tall crystalline being stepped forward, its voice translating through the station's systems. We suspected the Coalition's propaganda was false, but this changes everything. Rex's massive form dominated one end of the meeting chamber, his presence both magnificent and gentle. Through the station's systems, his thoughts reached everyone present. For too long, fear has ruled the galaxy. Fear of difference, fear of power, fear of change. The Coalition used this fear to turn you against those who once protected you. A smaller reptilian alien spoke up. But how can we stand against them? The Coalition controls everything. Trade routes, weapons, information. Jack smiled. They only control what they can see. Rex's people built hidden networks throughout the galaxy. Supply lines, communication relays, safe harbors. Most are still functional, just waiting to be reactivated. And you trust this human? Someone asked Rex. After what humans did to join the Coalition, I trust him because he chose to think for himself, Rex answered. As each of you is doing now. That is the first step toward freedom. Suddenly, the station's alerts flashed. A fleet of Coalition ships had appeared at the edge of the system. Someone had betrayed their location. Instead of panic, Jack saw determination spread through the gathered aliens. The crystalline being raised its arms. We have ships hidden nearby. We will protect this station. Others stepped forward, offering resources, safe passages, information networks. In minutes, what had been a mere meeting transformed into the headquarters of a resistance. They thought making us fear the Guardians would keep us under control, the reptilian alien said, coordinating with others to power up the station's ancient defense systems. Instead, it taught us to recognize real monsters. Jack watched in amazement as species that had been enemies under Coalition rule worked together seamlessly. Rex's energy patterns showed pride and hope. The Coalition made one critical mistake. Rex communicated to Jack privately. They forgot that oppression breeds heroes in every species. The first wave of Coalition ships entered weapons range, but instead of finding a helpless target, they faced a coordinated defense network. Ships emerged from hiding spots, using maneuvers and tactics that Rex had taught them. Attention Coalition vessels. Jack broadcast on all frequencies. You're facing beings who no longer fear your lies. Retreat or face the consequences. The Coalition ships hesitated. They had expected to find a single Guardian and a rogue human. Instead, they faced a unified force of multiple species, all fighting with the skill and knowledge of the ancient Guardians. They're pulling back, the crystalline being announced. Cheers erupted throughout the station. But Jack and Rex knew this was just the beginning. The Coalition wouldn't give up their power easily. Yet something fundamental had changed. The sight of various species standing together, protecting each other, had awakened something that the Coalition had tried to suppress. Hope. What now? Someone asked. Jack looked at Rex, then addressed the crowd. Now we show the galaxy the truth, not through violence, but by being what the Guardians always were, protectors, teachers, friends. The Coalition rules through fear, will lead through understanding. And when they come for us? The reptilian asked. Rex's answer appeared for all to see. Then we will show them that the galaxy's greatest strength isn't in weapons or control, but in unity. Together, we are stronger than any force that seeks to divide us. The station hummed with energy and purpose. What had started as a friendship between a human and a guardian had grown into something more. A movement, a revolution of minds and hearts. As Jack watched the Coalition ships retreat, he realized that he and Rex were no longer outcasts. They had found something better than acceptance. They had found a cause worth fighting for, and people willing to stand beside them. The real battle for the galaxy's soul was just beginning. The Coalition's central archive was supposed to be impenetrable. Yet here they were, Jack and Rex, deep within its secure data vaults, while their allies created a distraction several sectors away. Found it, Jack whispered, his fingers flying across the ancient terminal. The original records, dating back to the first attacks on the Guardians. Rex's massive form kept watch while interfacing with the facility's systems, ensuring their presence remained hidden. The Coalition cannot delete these records. They are hard-coded into their founding documents. The files began opening, revealing footage and documents that had been hidden for centuries. Jack's hands trembled as he accessed the first video file. The recording showed a meeting of the early Coalition leaders. Their words were damning. The Guardians' power must be our power. Their technology, their knowledge, all of it can be ours. But first, we must turn the galaxy against them. Broadcast it, Rex commanded. Use the override codes we discovered. Every screen, every communication device in Coalition space needs to see this. Jack activated the broadcast sequence they had prepared. Across thousands of worlds, the truth began to play. The Coalition's lies unraveled as their own records exposed their deception. More footage played. Peaceful Guardians being ambushed, their technology stolen, their attempts to protect younger species twisted into tales of aggression. The Coalition had manufactured every story, orchestrated every attack they had blamed on the Guardians. They're trying to shut down the broadcast, Jack reported, watching as Coalition cybersecurity teams attempted to stop the transmission. Too late, Rex's text showed satisfaction. The quantum encryption we placed ensures they cannot stop it. The truth spreads like starlight. Once released, it cannot be contained. Alarms began blaring throughout the facility. The Coalition's elite guards would be coming. But they had planned for this too. Ready for the second phase? Jack asked, downloading the last of the evidence. Rex's scales shifted in anticipation. The Coalition built their power on our stolen technology. Let us show them how it truly works. Together, they activated the final sequence. Throughout the facility, ancient Guardian systems that had been dormant for centuries came to life. The Coalition had built their headquarters on top of an old Guardian outpost, never understanding its true purpose. To all Coalition forces, Jack broadcast, his voice reaching every ship and station in the sector. The Guardians built this facility to protect, not to control. Watch what happens when its true purpose is restored. The entire station began to transform. Weapons turned to shields. Control systems became communication networks. What had been a fortress of oppression became a beacon of connection. Through these newly awakened systems, more truth poured out, not just about the Guardians, but about everything the Coalition had suppressed. Knowledge, culture, history, all of it freed from centuries of lockdown. They're here, Rex warned as Coalition troops burst into the vault. But the soldiers stopped, weapons lowered, as their own systems showed them the truth. Some removed their helmets, staring in disbelief at the evidence of their leader's deception. Your own leaders lie to you, Jack told them. You were never protecting the galaxy. You were helping them control it. A soldier stepped forward, removing her helmet completely. All these years, we thought we were the Guardians. Rex's response appeared on every screen. You can be. Not through force, but through understanding. That was always our way. More soldiers lowered their weapons. Throughout the facility, throughout the sector, the same scene played out. The Coalition's power had always depended on their lies being believed. As the truth spread, that power crumbled. Order all forces to stand down. The lead soldier commanded her troops. The Coalition's war against the Guardians ends today. As Jack and Rex emerged from the facility, they saw ships from their alliance arriving, not to fight, but to help manage the transition. The revolution they had started wasn't won with weapons, but with truth. Think they'll all accept it? Jack asked, watching Coalition worlds trying to process their new reality. Truth takes time to accept, Rex answered, but it has one advantage over lies. What's that? Once seen, it cannot be unseen. The galaxy is awakening, old friend. And this time, no one will sleep through false dreams again. 1 year later, the Great Hall of the former Coalition headquarters hummed with activity. Representatives from hundreds of species gathered for the First Galactic Congress, hosted in what was now called the Guardians' Sanctuary. Jack stood at one of the vast windows, watching ships arrive from across the galaxy. Each vessel represented a different species, a different world, all coming together to build something new from the ashes of the Coalition's lies. Thinking deep thoughts. Rex's text appeared beside him, the massive Guardian's reflection visible in the window. Just remembering where this all started, Jack replied. One broken scout ship and a decision not to shoot. The hall filled with more delegates. Some species that had been enemies for centuries now sat together, sharing knowledge and resources. The Guardian technology, once used to control, now served to translate and connect. The first session is about to begin, announced a voice through the station's systems. Jack and Rex made their way to the central platform. As they moved through the crowd, beings of all kinds nodded respectfully, not out of fear, but genuine gratitude. The story of the human who befriended a Guardian had become legend, a symbol of what was possible when fear was replaced with understanding. Honored delegates, Jack began, his voice carrying across the hall. A year ago, we discovered that our galaxy had been built on lies. Today, we begin building it on truth. Rex's form towered beside him, but no one showed fear. Instead, they watched in wonder as the Guardian's energy patterns created beautiful displays of light and color while communicating. My kind once watched over this galaxy from the shadows. Rex's words appeared for all to see. We believed direct intervention would hinder your growth. We were wrong. True growth comes from working together, learning from each other. A small, previously hostile species spoke up. But how can we be sure this new alliance will be different from the Coalition? Jack smiled. Because this isn't an alliance of control. Every species here has an equal voice. Even the Guardians aren't rulers. They're teachers, sharing their knowledge freely. As if to demonstrate, Rex projected images of new projects already underway. Guardian technology was being used to heal damaged worlds, to help species recover from centuries of exploitation, to explore the galaxy's mysteries together. More of my kind are returning, Rex announced, emerging from their hiding places as word spreads. But we return not as ancient protectors, but as equals in this new galaxy. The assembly erupted in approval. Jack watched as former enemies shared ideas, made plans, forged friendships. The Coalition's greatest fear had been realized, but instead of chaos, it had brought harmony. There will be challenges, Jack admitted to the gathered species. Old habits and fears don't disappear overnight. But look around you. Look what we've achieved in just 1 year. The station's systems displayed statistics. Trade had increased, conflicts had decreased, and scientific advancement had accelerated as species shared knowledge freely. The Guardian Network, restored to its original purpose, connected worlds in ways the Coalition never could. Some once called me a traitor, Jack continued. They said humans shouldn't trust what we don't understand. But understanding comes from trying, from reaching out, from choosing friendship over fear. Rex's final message drew all eyes upward. The galaxy spins on change. Stars die and are reborn. Species rise and fall. But one truth remains constant. Together, we are stronger than apart. As the first session of the Galactic Congress began, Jack felt a deep sense of satisfaction. The Coalition had tried to write a story of fear and control. Instead, they had created the conditions for something remarkable. A story of friendship that changed the galaxy. Ready for what comes next? He asked Rex quietly. The Guardian's response held a hint of adventure. The galaxy is vast, old friend. And this time, we explore it together, not as predator and prey, not as guardian and guarded, but as equals under the same stars. Outside the station's windows, ships of all designs moved in harmony, their lights bright against the darkness of space. The age of fear was over. The age of understanding had begun. And somewhere, Jack knew, other species were making the same choice he had made that day on his scout ship, to trust rather than fear, to befriend rather than fight, to understand rather than judge. The galaxy would never be the same. And that was exactly how it should be.